so that we're all together. Good morning, Facebook, or good afternoon, isn't it? It is just the afternoon. If you're watching this in real time, maybe you're watching it on catch up. Very nice to have you with me. Hello. Oh, thanks. Thanks for all your birthday messages for yesterday. Oh, excuse me, I might sneeze in a minute. It's hay fever. Gosh, it's really getting to me. Anyway, I am on my low histamine diet. Yeah, did you watch me talk about that on Saturday? That is hopefully, fingers crossed, going quite well for Lily. So yeah, we're trying it. We're just trying to eat low histamine. Hi Jane, hi Adele. Thank you. Yeah, I had a lovely birthday, thank you. It was really nice. It was good timing, wasn't it? Because it was on a Sunday, so I wasn't due to do my live. So I had a day off, which was really good. Let me just move this because I can see a bit of a glare. Hopefully that's all right for everybody. Let me know. So yeah, I had some really fun things. I've got some of my cards to show you. This was one I loved from my middle son, who calls me Mama. So he found this card where it says Mum on it, but he's obviously made the U into an A and then scribbled on another A to make when you open it up. So it says Mama. And he's done a bit of maths at the bottom here, not obviously wanting to give away my age, but he's been very diplomatic. He's put 25 times 2 plus a bit times 2 add 1. Shush, he's put at the bottom. So there we go. That is my age, if you want to work it out. So yeah, lovely, really nice message in there. And a couple here, do you know, I don't know what you guys are getting at, my friends, because there's one here that says, is it gin o'clock yet? Wine crossed out and gin. I do like the occasional gin and tonic, must be said. And then this one here from Lil, and this is, it says gin bunny. I know it's coming out backwards. And it's got gin kit rather than gym kit, and the dumbbells are bottles of gin. Anyway, yes, lovely, but that had lots of stickers and stuff inside it. Isn't that great? So just great. It was really simple. It was a really simple day. Had some homemade cake. This is what's left over. Actually, it's my oh, very nice. Lemon and poppy seed, one of my favourites. So that was made, and then it had on it, I put it on my Instagram. This is all that's left, actually. Again, sorry, it's backwards. Happy lockdown birthday. Let's hope it's the only lockdown birthday. That's all I can say. Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you, Amy, back with us on Facebook. Thank you for manning the keyboard there. I've got my iPad here, so if people are... Thank you. Thanks for your messages, Barbara. Thanks, Linda. So if you've got questions or comments, then Amy will pick them up, certainly on Facebook, and be able to put them on here. And I hope that I'll be able to keep an eye on them, because I am obviously watching and talking. And I know that women can multitask, but sometimes it all gets a bit out of hand, doesn't it? More coffee, that's what I need. Incidentally, I know that some of you sent me messages saying that you were really pleased to find the coffee company called New Ground. So New Ground Coffee, they've got 20% off if you use Liz Loves in capitals as the offer code. And these are the guys who are based in Oxford, and they work with ex-offenders, rehabilitating prisoners when they come out of prison. And they teach them how to roast beans and blend them. And they also buy from sustainable sources, and they have a huge array of coffees, so you can kind of really get into your coffee. I think for me, it's a bit like chocolate. You know, if you're going to have chocolate, have proper chocolate, have really nice, good quality, dark stuff that tastes really good, that satisfies you. You know, you don't kind of eat a whole bar and then you get to the end of it and you think, oh, you know, you either feel a bit sick because it was just too sweet, but it doesn't really satisfy you. And so the higher the cocoa solids, the better. And I've talked about Fire Tree chocolate. Again, you can find them in the links, as we've also got 10% off with them. And what I like about them, same with the coffee, is that A, they're sustainable and very ethical the way they produce their product, but also it's single estate. So you get to learn a bit about where the cocoa beans come from, or where the coffee beans come from, and the types that you might like, the different varieties, the different nuances of flavours. So because they're natural products, aren't they? Coffee and chocolate, they're natural beans that are grown and roasted and processed to make the finished product that we all enjoy. So it's kind of nice, I think, to buy into that and to learn a bit more about it and to connect with the farmers and the growers. I guess because I am a farmer and I live in a farming community, I really appreciate when people make the connection between the farmer and the grower. and the end product. Did you see the cows on my Instagram? Those our lovely tenant farmer has cows, and he has cows grazing on our fields here. And because we're part of regenerative farming, so we like to have animals on the ground because they just eat grass, so they're not fed artificial imports from soya or anything like that, and they fertilise the ground, so they actually capture carbon in the soil, so they are really good for regenerating the soil's microbiome and also really good in terms of the environment. So lovely to have those on the land. And it just so happened that yesterday afternoon, just before my birthday tea party, they all came streaming past, mooing. So it was like, my kids say, hey, look, you get the cow past, you don't get the fly past, but you get the cow past. And all with one amazing working dog called Bo, who is a sheepdog, but also happens to be able to herd cows as well as sheep, which was great. Amanda, you have ordered my yearbooks 1 and 2 over the weekend. Absolutely, it will happen. Don't worry, we are a little bit... we're all working from home, so I think it says on the website, just bear with us, but you will absolutely, I'm sure, be getting a confirmation. Just check your junk. Heaven forfend that our emails should end up in your junk, but it's always worth it, isn't it? Just checking your junk and your spam folder. So yeah, yearbooks, they've been flying out the door. So I've been really busy here signing them and taking them down to my postmistress. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then these are they. That's yearbook 2. And this one is yearbook 1. A couple of questions saying, should I get 1 or 2 to start with? Well, I would go chronological. I would get yearbook 1 first if you haven't got it. And they are different, obviously. They have different recipes, they have different seasonal ideas in. There's lots of beauty, health, well-being, herbs, gardening, flowers. What I'll do actually is I'll put a separate post up all about the yearbooks, and then you can see. But there is more information on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website, of course, as well. I was actually making recipes from yearbook 2 yesterday, and these were the spiced chocolate and date balls that I was making, which I ate along with a load of chocolate dipped strawberries, which were delicious. I can definitely sign them, Amanda. All my books from here get signed, so yeah. What was I going to talk about? Oh yes, I know what I was going to talk about. I was going to answer first of all a few of the questions that have come through, which Amy is very kindly writing on here. So my dress, so this I put on in honour of Chelsea Flower Show. So it's, if you're watching this live, it's Monday, May the 18th, and this would normally be the preview day for the Chelsea Flower Show, which takes over the whole of the Royal Hospital grounds. It's where the amazing Chelsea pensioners live in London, and my studios are in southwest London, so I see for weeks the whole construction going on, all the show gardens being built. I often take a little run around Royal Hospital at that time of year because it's fascinating to see it all being built and all the plants coming in and the water features and the truckfuls of amazing orchids and all sorts of exotica. And of course, this year, nothing. It's just completely empty. But they are doing it online, which is amazing. So we will be able to see so much of what would have been happening at Chelsea if you go to the RHS website. And today, Monday, is always the preview day, so I get to go, which is really wonderful. I'm very fortunate to be invited, and we all have to be out by 3 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when the Queen comes. And you may have heard Simon Lysett, the lovely florist, talking about the posies that he always makes every year for the royal party. And then it's open to the general public for the rest of the week. And I think that's what they're doing, the RHS. I think they're opening it to members today, online, and then from tomorrow. So I always try and wear something for that special Monday that is florally, that just kind of sums up the start of the British season, if you like, the British summer season, which normally would include things like Wimbledon and Henley and outdoor garden parties and barbecues and all that kind of thing. So this is the dress that I would have worn today to Chelsea. So I just wanted to share it with you. I popped a link on it on my Instagram and on Facebook with it. And I just love it. It's not particularly expensive. It's about £50. I bought it from John Lewis. And I love it because it has got this sort of floatiness to it with a little tiny bit of gold fleck through it. Can you see here? Just a little bit of shimmer, which would look really pretty in the evening or in the sunlight. and it's got a nice little navy slip that it comes with. And it's also elasticated. Look, so plenty of room for pies, should you want to wear it to an occasion like that. And look at the sleeves. They're pretty. I always like 3/4 length sleeves. I don't know about you, but I just don't like having things that come down too low. Maybe because I'm busy, I just find they get in the way and annoy me. So if I can find something that's got 3/4 length sleeves or this really pretty cut. Anyway, I just thought I'd share it with you with that little ruffle, again, which is very feminine and very flattering. So I'll pop the link up for that. But it's just a simple one that I discovered on John Lewis. So there we are. So what else are we going to talk about today? So, there's a birthday message. So it was my birthday yesterday. And who is this? This is a message here from Katya, who says, my sister Joanna, or Hoanna maybe, Hoanna, because it looks as if it's got a different spelling from the normal British spelling, is one of your biggest followers, and it would be great if you could say happy birthday to her today. So happy birthday, Joanna. She's always been there for me as a big sister and loves to help make the world a little better. She works as a teaching assistant in her local public school in Littleborough and has been going in once a week to take care of essential key workers' children. I just know that it would make my sister's birthday to receive a happy birthday from you. Love from Katya. Well, hi. Hi, Joanna. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'm wishing you a super happy birthday. I hope your birthday is as happy and as calm and as enjoyable as mine was yesterday. So sending you lots of birthday love and good wishes. This is from Lisa on Facebook, who says, very happy lady today. Started HRT last Thursday after having breast cancer and told I couldn't. And I'm feeling fabulous already. Thank you. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Lots online about that. I'm not going there today, okay? Don't tempt me, because you know what happens. That soapbox. But just to say, in all seriousness, there are huge amounts of really good evidence-based resources out there. And as Lisa has clearly demonstrated talking to doctors, it is perfectly possible to have HRT having breast cancer, either having had it or even during treatment. If you listen to my podcast with Kirsty Lang, the BBC broadcaster who has HRT while she's having her breast cancer treatment. Obviously, you need to talk to specialists. Obviously, it needs to be the right kind of HRT. Lots of information on Menopause Doctor. She's recorded endless podcasts about this. She's got lots of downloads, lots of great information. I've recorded podcasts with her. I've recorded podcasts with Professor Michael Baum, who was the lead medic in the original tamoxifen trials and senior oncologist at the Royal Marsden with breast cancer patients. So lots and lots of information. Do read the book Estrogen Matters by Professor Avram Blooming. I know, Amy, you'll pop links to all of that. I can see that all the links going down already. Here's the link to the podcast with Katie Lang. Here's the link to the book about Avram Blooming. And these are also proving very popular on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. They're the downloads. This is the truth about menopause that you can download, and also the truth about HRT, and there's quite a bit in there as well. If you want more specific medical advice, go to Menopause Doctor. I downloaded this one, for example, for a friend. This is all about endometriosis and HRT. And there's also prescribing guidelines that you can share with your GP if you need to. There's nice guidelines. This is just some of my research that I was highlighting, which I was talking about earlier last week when I went off on one, basically, about it all. So I hope that is helpful. And thank you very much, Lisa, for sharing your good news. And it's amazing, actually, when HRT does work, it works like that. And you just can get your life back and you can start to sleep properly and feel very, very different. So, what are we talking about here today? Sarah says, can improving my gut health help to improve my mood? Yes, absolutely. In a word, yes. Lots of information on gut health on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. In fact, the two key areas that we found to be the most popular, one is gut health and one is menopause. Possibly because those are the books that I've written about most recently. I wrote a book called The Good Menopause Guide and also a book called The Good Gut Guide. And that has a 6-week plan in it that you can follow for 6 weeks if you want to just to help repopulate your microbiome and to get better gut health back. And the reason why gut health is so important for mental health is that we produce serotonin, which is the neurotransmitter, that the brain chemical that makes us feel happier and less anxious, and it helps us cope well with stress. So obviously right now we're going to need to have lots of serotonin. We're going to want to build that up because it's eaten away by things like cortisol, which is stress related. And if we don't eat the right foods, then that can disrupt the beneficial gut bacteria. So eating for a happier mood is perfectly possible and really good. So do take a look at that. There's a whole section on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website called Gut Health. It's completely free. You can just go there. You can read through some of the recipes, some of the resources. I link to lots of other medics and bits of research. So it's quite nice if you've got a little bit of time on your hands and you want to start to investigate having better gut health, because obviously you might have an issue that you want to sort out, like IBS or IBD or bloating or any of those digestive disorders, leaky gut, all of that. But for some of us, it's more about maintaining mental health and enjoying, really feeling happier and less stressed about everything. And I got some really quite shocking news this morning about a friend of mine who had been feeling increasingly anxious with all of this stuff that's going on around us. And she had basically locked herself in her house, didn't see anybody, didn't even go out for essential shopping or to chat to the neighbours over the garden fence or anything, and was just listening to the news 24/7 and is just getting into a real spiral downwards and going on to kind of weird woo-woo websites that basically said you had to fast continually and not eat, and she basically stopped eating. Anyway, long story short, she's actually just been admitted to psychiatric hospital yesterday, having had a major breakdown, and this all happened in a very short space of time, in about 10 days. So these are challenging times, and I know that many people are being really affected by anxiety. Hopefully that will start to ease as we start to get a little bit more freedom. We're able to go out a little bit more, spend more time outdoors, which is really important for mental health. Again, it's producing serotonin, connecting with nature, having our vitamin D from the sun, really important for our immune system as well as for mental health and well-being. And it is hard. I know of young girls who've been, restricting their eating because they feel it's the only thing they can control. So big rise in eating disorders. So I've done quite a few podcasts on helping with anxiety, helping with chronic pain, helping improve mood, helping improve resilience. Dr. Jemima Fitzgerald, it's a really good podcast to listen to for everybody. I would recommend that. A lovely podcast with Dr. Rebecca Lewis talking about estrogen and anxiety. That's also a really, really good one. So anyway, lots of resources. So I just wanted to just throw that out there basically and just say, I'm with you here. I'm really thinking about everybody, and my whole team at Liz Earle Wellbeing and I are really thinking about what we can put out on the website that's going to be of most use, that's going to be of most benefit. So do keep your questions and comments coming, please, because it really helps us to then shape what we can write about and research about, or what I can talk about here. Really sorry, Instagram, I don't do direct message. I know I keep saying that and I keep getting them, and I just feel so rude because I just can't cope with them. But I do reply to my comments. Sometimes it might take me a little while, but I do. I really do try and get round to them all. This is a question from Faye. Can you drink kefir on an empty stomach? Yeah, absolutely. So kefir, it's a food. It's not a medicine. I mean, it does have amazing therapeutic benefits, but it's just like eating yogurt. It's just like a supercharged yogurt. And if you're interested in kefir, there's lots on my Wellbeing website about kefir. I've recorded podcasts about kefir. I've got tutorials on YouTube how to make your own kefir. I mean, really, my fridge is never knowingly under kefired. Okay, it's always, if you come round and say, actually, Liz, I really fancy a glass of kefir, I go, well, which one would you like? Because there's lots of choice. And the reason I keep lots of different varieties of kefir, I buy it and I also make it myself, is that all the different kefirs have different beneficial bacteria, because we don't yet know specifically which strains of bacteria can help certain things. We're getting a better idea with the research that's being done, but we can't say, if you have, Lactobacillus rhamnosus or whatever, you will definitely use it to treat this. But we do know that it seems to be beneficial for pelvic health. So it's a very good female probiotic, certainly something that I take to support my pelvic health. I've just seen a question here, actually this is from Alison on Instagram, saying, could you remind us of the probiotics you mentioned for anxiety? Yeah, absolutely. So there's one that I specifically look for if I'm wanting to help people improve their anxiety, if people are saying, what do you recommend? Certainly from the research, from the information that I've got and the information that I can share, is that L-reuteri is one of the ones that seems to be really good at helping with anxiety and improving mood. I write a lot more about this actually in the Good Gut Guide, and I'm just in the process of putting together an e-guide, because the e-guides that I did on HRT and menopause have been so popular and so useful, because wherever you are in the world you can download it easily and read it wherever instantly. You don't have to wait for the postman or post lady. So yeah, that's something that I am putting together. So thank you for all your comments about that. Claire, did you have a lovely birthday? Yes, I did. Thank you. It was really simple. It was a lot of homemade cards and presents, and we had a big chat on, I don't know whether we were using Zoom or FaceTime. I think it was FaceTime yesterday. So I patched in my brother and sister-in-law and my nephews and my parents. And my son in Kenya, and we were all together, which was really nice. Linda says here on Facebook, my hubby is always asking what the weird looking jars in the fridge are. I know. My advice to anybody who starts to make their own yogurt or kefir or sauerkraut or kimchi or any of this stuff is label your jars, because so often, I've gone away for a few days and I've come back and I've said, well, where's my kefir? And they said, oh, we had some funny looking milk that had gone off, so we threw it out. It's like, no, that was my wonderful kefir that I was saving. And because it is a cultured milk product, so it does, if you look at it and didn't know, then yeah, you would think, oh, this is just milk that's gone a bit kind of lumpy and a bit off. But no, it's really, really good stuff. Lovely chats going on Facebook and also on Instagram, just about everybody chatting together, which is really nice. Garant Serendipity says, I'm growing a SCOBY and it's freaking everyone out. Love it. So SCOBY, you may have seen me making kombucha a few weeks ago. And this is a bit of an alien-like creature, the SCOBY. I might have to bring a SCOBY out next time to show you if you haven't seen it. It's like a kind of brownie, pancakey jelly thing. I'm not selling this very well, but it is really good. And you brew it in dark sweet tea, and what happens is the SCOBY, which actually is an acronym, it stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeasts, SCOBY. And what it does is it feeds on the sugar that you give it in this warm sweet tea. So it digests the sugar, so that by the time the SCOBY has kind of created this fermented tea drink, it's actually gobbled up most of the sugar. So it turns into a very low sugar drink, even though you make it with lots of sugar, because that's what the SCOBY itself uses for food. And it produces these beneficial probiotic cultures in the drink, and then you have it. I mean, you can have a little glassful every day. I mix it sometimes with sparkling water, make a kombucha spritzer. You can also buy various different kombuchas. There's lots of different brands. I'll be talking a bit more about kombucha later in the week, actually. Oh, thanks, Amy. You've just found the video link on lizearlewellbeing.com about how to make kombucha at home, which is really good. So, lots of talk about food here. This is from Julie on Instagram. What are your favourite seasonal ingredients to use at the moment? Well, I have to say that I was given my choice of supper last night, being birthday girl. So I had a slow roast shoulder of lamb, which was absolutely delicious, with a berry jelly, little compote made out of like red currants and berries, and the first broad beans of the season. So we went out and we picked some broad bean pods and we podded them. We just had the little tiny ones, and that was absolutely delicious. So that's what I'm really enjoying. But one of the things that we've tried to do always in the magazine, for those of you who subscribe, this is the subscriber cover. It's now in the shops as well. So if you are heading off to the supermarket or you have WH Smith's near you, I know some of their branches are open, then you will find this one It is just remind myself because I lose track of time here, it's the May-June issue. So the magazine comes out every other month. So we produce 6 issues a year. And they're always seasonal. So these are the headings, really. I'm sorry, it's backwards. But the main pillars, if you like, of the magazine are food, health, beauty, travel, home, and nature. Obviously, there's not a huge amount of travelling going on. So we've got some lovely inspirational travel ideas for when we get out. But also about how to have staycations at home. Lots always about nature and lots always about seasonal foods. So I can share with you some of the articles here. So we have got, I don't know if I come round like that. I think maybe I'm still coming out backwards. But if I can read you some of the recipes. So there's always a recipe index. So this shows some of the seasonal things that we're cooking up at the moment. And we've tried to focus on things that we might actually have. So I know that we can't all go out and do massive supermarket shops at the moment. All the supermarkets are out of certain things, flour and pasta and all of that. So we've looked at seasonal things. So the seasonal veggies that I'm really enjoying at the moment are asparagus. There's lots of asparagus around, English asparagus. And asparagus is very good for our gut. It has a prebiotic fibre called inulin, which our gut bugs just love. One of my favourite things is to do a boiled egg and have like a dippy egg using the asparagus spears with the egg. And I often will have goat's cheese with asparagus. Asparagus I find is a really good combination. And goat's cheese is often more easily digested than cow's milk cheese because it has a smaller molecular structure. The fat little globules are smaller. But again, lots of calcium. It's really good for you. It's a very interesting whole thing. Goat's milk, goat's cheese. You can buy raw goat's milk kefir from the Chuckling Goat Company, and they do mail order. That's a really lovely brand. I like things like buckwheat, so I'm using, instead of normal pasta, I'm using things like buckwheat pasta. And buckwheat isn't actually anything to do with wheat. It's a little seed. It's actually a relative of rhubarb, believe it or not. And we made some little blinis last night. We had some smoked salmon again for my birthday. I had that for my brunch. I had smoked salmon on buckwheat blinis, and Lily made some buckwheat blinis. She managed to get some buckwheat flour, and they come out slightly brownish and the slightly nutty taste. Really, really good for pancakes. And you can make them really thin and then have them like wraps. So you can make buckwheat wraps, and you could put lots of good things in there. You could put cheese or avocado or a grilled chicken or just salad, tomato, cheese, lettuce and tomato, things like that in a wrap, which is one of my favourite lunches at the moment. So what have we got here? We've got lots of salads, artichokes and broad beans. Artichokes are also really good for gut health, and they're seasonal at the moment, so they're coming in. Broad beans, obviously I've mentioned it before. There's a really good harissa salad, harissa being that kind of spicy Moroccan paste, and this is I think it's a vegan dish, actually. It's chickpea and cauliflower harissa salad. That's a really good one. We've also got a whole section here on sourdough bread making. So if you do have some flour, or you want to get some spelt flour from somewhere like Sharpen Park, which is local to me, just down the road in Dorset, which has spelt flour, which is this ancient grain. It's got a really interesting amino acid profile. It's very nutritious. And again, it's more easily digested by many. But you can use that for making bread, or we've got recipes here for a sourdough pita bread, which is really good, or sourdough pizza. You can make that at home. And then the puddings that I really like. I'll see if I can find these. We've got a pineapple upside down cake, which is to die for. I mean, seriously, seriously good. If you want to have a bit of baking, to do something that's not too sweet, so it's going to be better for you than most of the conventional cakes and bakes that everybody is putting out online at the moment, then pineapple upside down cake is a dream. Serve that with a little bit of creme fraiche or a bit of kefir even. Delicious. Nice dollop of yoghurt. Great. There's a no-churn roasted strawberry ice cream. I think I mentioned on Saturday that we're going to be seeing a huge amount of strawberries coming into the shops very, very soon. If you don't have your own in the garden, then you can be buying them very soon really cheaply, because all the strawberry growers who are making for things like Wimbledon, who've been growing them for Wimbledon, all those events aren't happening. So they're coming into the supermarkets now and the greengrocers. And there's also an amazing cherry and almond trifle. Let me see if I can find the recipes. Tend to be sort of in the middle section of the magazine. Here we go. So, that's good too. Steak tartare recipe. And this is the sourdough pizza and pita bread. Really, really good. I'm going to get my boys doing that. I don't know, but something about bread making that seems to be kind of more of a man thing. I don't know if you ever see Phil Vickery on his, not the chef, the former England rugby captain. And he and I are fellow ambassadors for the Prince's Countryside Fund. And I've met him at various events for that, various fundraising charity events. And I follow him now because the thing that he is doing most in lockdown is baking sourdough. And he's brilliant at it. I don't know if you're watching, Phil, but really, I'm going to have to get together with you. You're going to have to give me a lesson. But this is what we've got here. So this is what the pineapple upside down cake looks like. And I tell you, it does actually turn out and look just like that. It is absolutely delicious. And Harry, my lovely son-in-law, made it when he was here. And it looked just like this. And it was really good. And we ate half of it and we froze the other half. So I've got that sitting in the freezer for later, which is really good. And then this is the no churn roasted strawberry ice cream. So you can make that without using a professional electric ice cream maker, which is great if you've got them. But if you haven't, don't worry. There's still ways you can make ice cream. And look at this one. This is the almond and cherry trifle. Oh, I defy you not to love that. And full of fruit. And, you know, the way that we make things a little bit more well-being, I mean, obviously, it's moderation, isn't it? But it's also things that, like using real fruit, using high fats. So, you know, I'm a fan of real, proper high fats, not using low-fat, hardened fats, but low sugar. So cutting the sugar down to the really merest amount that you need in certain things. Obviously, some recipes you need a bit of sugar. So, for example, with the no-churn strawberry ice cream, you do need to use a little bit of condensed milk because that's what gives it that texture. But at the same time, you're also using a large amount of fruit and good quality fats in there. And the same with the trifle. Rather than going out and buying the sponge fingers and all of that, which are so high in sugars, we've actually made almond biscotti to go in the trifle, and that uses ground almonds, spelt flour or wholemeal flour, so you can make your biscotti using wholemeal flour, and you've got eggs and almond essence and chopped almonds and a little bit of amaretto if you fancy to soak. Anyway, lots of good stuff. So if you do make anything from the magazine, please post pictures and tag me either on Facebook or on my Instagram, Liz Earle Me. Many of you who see my stories know that I'm often reposting pictures because it's lovely to see, and I'm always so pleased when the recipes turn out to look exactly as they do in the magazine or in my yearbook, because we do test them. Everything is tested at least 3 times. They're all minimally triple tested, very often more than that, partly because we all love making them so much. Anyway, lots and lots in here. So I hope you've got your copy, because I will be talking about this later on in the week as well. You can subscribe, so if you want it sent to you, then Warner's are our subscription service, and I have to say they are really good. And if anyone from Warner's is watching, thank you, because you are doing a brilliant job. I know most of you are working from home and you've set up online to be able to handle everything, and you are so efficient and so charming and so lovely to deal with, unlike our previous company, who were not a nightmare last year. Big apologies for anybody who had subscription issues last year. Anyway, we sacked them, so they've gone, and we've now got Warner's, and they are lovely, and so they're doing a great job. And we have kept the amazing 30% off, and we're going to keep that for just as long as we can. We're not going to be able to keep it forever, so absolutely the best time if you want to take out a subscription. Trust me on this, it's 30% off, 30, plus free UK postage and packing. So it's never going to get any better than that in terms of value for money. So we just hope that we're going to be able to share it with more and more people. But if you're able to get to the shops and you see it, then it is there. I got a picture from a friend at the weekend who'd spotted it in Sainsbury's, and also I had one before from Waitrose. So it's definitely around. I hope you find it and I hope you love it. And I'll be back tomorrow. I think tomorrow I will be in the kitchen. Hopefully later on today I'm going to get a makeup tutorial up. I just need to go back and check all the shades and availability of things, because there's nothing more infuriating than talking about something and then finding that it's not in stock or it doesn't exist anymore, it's been discontinued. So I'm just going to go back and double check all of that and make sure that's all there. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for all your kind comments. I never thought I'd be sitting here in my bedroom doing my makeup to the world and sharing it and talking about it, but hopefully it's useful. And thank you very much for being with me. I look forward to being with you tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of the day, and don't forget, I think Chelsea Flower Show for everybody will be available to watch tomorrow, and that will be a real pleasure. Maybe get a bowl of strawberries and sit in front of the TV or whatever and enjoy it. Anyway, sending lots of love. Have a great day. Bye bye.